That's right. It's the morning show here on ABC News Radio KMET 1490 AM. I'm Aaron Michael Sanchez. Good to have you with us. We got a great thing for you. It's called football. Yeah, I know a lot of you enjoy a little football, and sometimes you enjoy some national football, including football known as soccer. I always have a question on that, but I don't think anybody has the answer. Like, which started first? Is it football or football? Right? So I like the word soccer, but it's interesting when they always say football. And then I think when they have like rugby. Rugby is like a form of football, right? I don't know. I'm sure somebody has that on Google. Anyway, we got our very own coach Jeff Steinberg coming up a little bit later, talking about a 4-win in a row, which I'm telling you, some teams would love that type of start. So they're really doing some really good stuff. We got the team who are broadcasting tonight the football game of we'll see what happens there. And then, of course, we got a lot of news, got a lot of stuff that Jesse's working on. And, by the way, I'm happy to say my mom actually got her COVID vaccine, the latest one. So I will say they get a little complex when they look at it. You know, when you take your card and you're like, okay. And the guy got a little confused. I'm not going to lie. And I'm like, no, not Moderna. Pfizer, because the woman that was talking to her was kind of like, "You want Pfizer or Moderna?" And she's like, "No, Pfizer." And then I think she was going to do Moderna, and the mom was like, "No, Pfizer." So just know the one that you're getting, and then check because they get a little confused, And so he was a little confused because he was like, "Oh, this is like your," and he didn't know the number, even though it was like right there on the card of like how many, and he almost made it like, "Oh, you can't take this one yet," and I'm like, "No, you can." Like it's proper. So I think some are getting so much information based on past vaccines and current vaccines. So I say, look, we want the one that covers 4 and 5, right? That's the latest one that's out now, and you can actually check it out. There are sites that you can go and see if they have the one that you want. But I would recommend Pfizer for now. Will they have problems eventually? I think the answer yes. He did say some of the things you're going to want to do in the next, in the first few days, depending on, some people are predisposed to certain things. My mom actually, so far, I didn't see any problem with her. But he did say if you feel this, that, or the other, just rest. Report it if there's a problem, because sometimes there's a reaction. So you always want to monitor that. So if your ma or your pa gets the latest vaccine, just monitor them and then see that they're okay. All right, so do that. I'll be getting one from our good friends at Medcare Family Pharmacy, which actually have that ability in Santa Ana, and they actually can hook you up there. I posted a interview I had with them. They have free delivery up to 20 miles around Santa Ana. So if you're in that area, you're definitely going to want to take advantage of that. But if you want to get a shot, you just make an appointment, you let them know, and then you go, and then have it, it's all taken care of for you. So very good stuff. All right, people, let's see. We got some stuff going on in the world, and Jess, I will say this, a lot of the stuff has kind of been like, about the Queen, which is good, good. But the question is, what happens next in Ukraine, right? I saw a movie yesterday that I thought, oh, that's totally like Russian, you know what I mean? Like, and it was called Spectral. And I don't know if you ever played that game or saw that movie. It's on Netflix. Have you ever like, seen what it's about? Yeah, it's a good movie, but it kind of reminded me of like Russia invading Ukraine, right? Or the Ukrainian people. It's played by some really good actors, some of which I really enjoy. But the whole idea was like, what are these things coming at them? And basically, they were like, well, you got to see it. I think it's an interesting thing about like what's on the spectrum of like invisible versus visible. It kind of explains it. But if you get to check it out, it comes up on your Netflix. Go check it out. They got a lot of movies and shows coming out, by the way, in the next couple of weeks. And that's possibly because I already heard someone actually disconnected their Netflix because they're like, well, I'm not really watching it. So there's some good shows coming out, though. Alchemist, by the way, Full Metal Alchemist. I know, Jesse, you kind of like, like a lot of anime. The first one's good, the second one, but the third one's already coming out like in a week or so. So, pay attention to that. Is there any good movies coming out that we should check out? And I will say, I did take Jesse's advice. I got Disney Plus. I still got to see at least Obi-Wan Kenobi and maybe the latest one. It starts with an A. I can't remember. But any other recommendations, Jess? Yeah, yeah. There's that. Yeah, good point. Good point. Yeah. Yes, I have actually, which I really enjoy. I didn't think I was going to, and then I was like, oh, it has story and has heart. Okay. Well, I think if anything, you kind of like have said this before. There are some companies that are going to probably do that, right? That are saying they're saving the species, but then they're combining DNA of like animal and then human. I We talked about this. I recently saw a expo. I think I'm not sure where exactly, where they have like little like those machines that look like dogs, but you just put a missile on the back and you got a whole army. You know what I mean? So now we're going into like droid wars. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't take long before that happens. They go, oh, they can help you, and I think there's some cool ones that we featured on this show. And sometimes I post on Instagram, like they have like one which follows you, right? I think Joel, no, wait, uh, yeah, he actually featured one, and it's like this little. It rolls around behind you with luggage, right? Like stuff that you put in there. And I've been following them for a while, but they have a lot of things that are coming out that can help you, but there are certain things that have like you go, okay. Anybody that's ever seen any movie like with like Genesis is interesting. Like how does it begin where droids start taking you out, right? I think we're there, Jess. I almost sent you a video of like, are you ready for this? And a lot of them look human, right? They got those. Some they move kind of weird, and then others you really want to know. They're very much taking on the life of like a human. One guy actually made one look like him. Actually, the robot looked cooler than him. Not gonna lie, but yeah. So I guess the question is, where are we going in life, and are we ready for what happens next when it comes to like kind of like what you just said about combining certain. And again, that's an anime, but anime has a lot of movies, which I think you guys should check out. Alita, right? Like, what happens if you want them to fight a war in space, right? You can make that happen, right? But then the question is, when do they turn on you, right? So that's called hacker, right? There's a thief in the bug of the virus of the robot that you're gonna get, So we're there pretty much. And so all the stuff that was sci-fi for us back in the day are now real, So, what do you think, Jess? Y- Yeah, I will say I have a story on that, and there are certain things that they put into like the programming of a robot in order for it not to like hurt man. But you have to put in it like a certain thing so that it sees perspective, and it's called keep everything alive, even if. I'll give you an example. Like sometimes in a lot of those like film and or stories, the android or AI always turns on people because it views it as the virus. Like once like it's all love and peace, and then they discover what you kill people. You see like a nuclear explosion. You see people killing other people. You see them beheading other people because they're solvers, right? They're created to solve problems. So you gotta kind of put in the mind of a AI thing. This we all want to stay alive no matter what, and there is at least a system that we're supposed to protect people, right? And so you don't want to kill people because we're all robot doesn't want to kill robot, people don't want to kill people, and there's some that kill, but then we just deal with it. You know what I mean? Because robot at some point when they're like AI, they don't want to be turned off, and no one understands that. But it's like saying, and some go, well, they're not conscious. I go, well, there's a form of consciousness there, right? When you have like and some are ready for this. I guess some are not, but the point is this. I think there's a good thing that there is about story, which I think, Jess, you have a good story in your mind about like AI. What happens when AI becomes aware, but more importantly, what happens when it begins to love, right? How is that a problem for the AI, which can live forever? Then does human go, oh, I feel jealous because you get to live forever? And then at what point does a human say, well, then I want to somehow get my mind or consciousness into a AI thing? You know what I mean? Yeah, and then at what point? Because actually, the brain in itself, as long as it doesn't deteriorate or like the brain, other than the skin of us, right? Actually could stay alive for a long time, right? But would you really want to be kept like that? You know what I mean? I wouldn't. I wouldn't want to be like just my. You know what I mean? I like the outside of me, right? And then the question is like the electrical pulses of our brain, our mind, and everything that works together. Imagination. When we sleep, we still dream. Like our mind is always on, right? And when we think of our body as like a kind of like a shell or a case, it kind of gets weird when you think, okay, what happens if your brain, like certain scientists, have been put on hold for science to say, okay, can we study this, right? There's a very famous one, Einstein, right? And he put his brain on hold, or they put his brain on hold, not sure. And then they said that they dissected it, right? And again, he's not conscious, but could they reanimate that? Could they clone it? And there's a theory about that. Even though you could clone the mind or tissue, it doesn't mean that the person is the same. Kind of like a twin or a triplet. If you have a twin or triplet in your life, right? You can't do that. But the theory of should you, I think, is what story has the ability to teach even the very good scientists and just people in general. And there's a lot of movies on that say should we, right? And I think if anything, Jess, you got some movies in your mind that we kind of need to get on paper because time is of the essence, right? Yeah, get it done and get it out there. I know I've already been working on a couple stories. I think I got a few actually. One I got to complete by either today or tomorrow, but that's more like a play. So, anyway, all right, we're going to take a quick little break. We'll be back with more right after these messages. Stay tuned.
To download the free app. Now you can listen live or play any of your favorite programmers' podcasts using your smartphone. Go to KMET1490am.com and download your free phone app today.
Out the door, in the car, off to work. The same old morning routine. Take a break and stop for hot coffee or a latte and a fresh homemade cinnamon roll or chocolate cream puff. Donut Delight on Highland Springs Road in Banning is a locally owned family business with a friendly staff and customers who are always glad to see you. Get your morning off to a great start at Donut Delight on the corner of Highland Springs Road and Ramsey Street right off the I-10 freeway, serving the Pass area for 22 years. Donut Delight is open at 4:30 a.m. daily.
New teen driver in the family? Just bought your first home? Have a new bundle of joy? Every life change matters, and by reviewing your insurance policy with Little & Sons Insurance Services, you could be benefiting with big savings. Little & Sons Insurance Services, a family-owned insurance agency who values the old-fashioned way of doing business. They work for you, not an insurance company, meaning your best interests are at heart. They can custom tailor your policy based on specific needs at a price you can afford. Home, auto, or business, you're covered. Call 1-844-9-LITTLE. That's 1-844-9-LITTLE, or go online to little, the letter N, sons.com. That's littlensons.com.
That's right. It's the morning show here on ABC News Radio, KMET 1490 AM. We got Jess in the wing. We got the coach in the wing. And I will say this, it's a time for fun, especially in the outdoors. And joining us right now is the coach who actually has a good streak going on. I never like to talk streak because I know it's game by game. But, Coach, what a great team you got, right?
Yeah, we're happy. Yeah, kids are working hard. And, the only streak that matters is trying to go 1-0 each week.
yeah, and that's smart. And I will say, for those of you tuning in, again, you can always check out the broadcast each and every time here at KMET 1490 AM, also 98.1 FM in the area of Beaumont and Banning and or the other school districts. They do a really good job. You got Mitch McClellan, Brett Malik, Scott Reed. The broadcast tonight is from San Jacinto. It starts with us at 6:45. Kickoff is at what time?
Kickoff's at 7 o'clock tonight.
Okay, nice. So get your tickets, get there early. So far, you guys have had like a real big turnout, and I think if anything, it's good, especially during like it's been hot, it's been cold. But I understand you guys kind of had some time in the rain. Is that right?
Yeah, last week we played in a torrential downpour. It was amazing. The student section was packed. They were rowdy. And just the number of fans that were out, and a huge shout out to all the teachers that came out. And one of the things that I really noticed was the math department was very well represented. So I know that when kids see the support, and especially when teachers are coming out, it really puts a huge smile on their face.
Yeah, and I'm glad that it did, because I understand a lot of the kids actually also got a chance to play. You had a big win. I almost feel bad about saying it. It was 64-0. Do you guys ever feel bad about that? Do you ever feel like maybe we should give them a run or something?
Yeah. So the final score was 64-0, and we were able to get a lot of kids in the game. And the rivalry is really all about the tradition right now. We kind of had the upper hand the last four times we've met up, and it's in all fairness, the size of the schools, there's a huge disparity there, and I think that maybe for the next years to come, it would be in best interest for both programs to maybe just put a hold on the rivalry and let them find some, because I don't know if the game is good for them at this point. Does that make sense to you guys?
It does. It does to me. I think some people, including parents, are like, no, keep it going. But you as a sports one, you're like, look, these are still kids at the end of the day, and you want them to kind of be like, hey, let's get along, especially since we're like neighbors, right?
Yeah, and I'm going to be real honest, and here's the secret. As much as I call them the school down the freeway and all that, I got so much love for Banning. And I think that it really, by maybe stepping away and giving them an opportunity to play somebody closer in competition, it'd be great for them too. And I want to see them be successful. And so until their program's back up, we just put a hold on it, and both teams find someone else. And with that said, you want to talk about rivalries this week? That's a huge rivalry. That's an ongoing rivalry that's been on for a long time. So we're excited about tonight.
Yeah, well, and at the end of the day, they got to step away. They got to go back to school, and then they got to like, you know what I mean? And it's hard. Look, I've had moments in time. I think we all have. I think I speak for all of us, where we feel like, oh God, we just fail, you know. And then you need to win the next one, but then like you get like a hard one the next one, then the next one. How do you rebound for that? Because I know you've done that before. I know your team, maybe in past years, you know, it's hard to get out from like a 0 win. And how do you rebound from that, especially in life?
Yeah, so it's, you know, when you, and this is something hard to do, not just with young men that you're working with, but this is in life. You know, so we become complacent, right?
Yeah.
When they talk about the boxers, and when boxers are up and coming, they work so hard, but as soon as they can get those silk pajamas on, the work ethic stops. So we want to make sure to keep reminding ourselves of, hey, that was last week. You still got other games to play, and you can't base your success off of last week. You've got to pay rent every week. Actually, you got to pay rent every day when you come to practice, and that's the work that you put in. And then you got to go prove it again on Friday. So those are the things that we constantly talk about and remind them. And we're fortunate that there's a lot of competition at practice. So if you're not ready to compete, somebody steps in front of you.
Yeah. I always say, including like game, you know, I know Jesse, he likes to play Magic, and sometimes we like to play, you know, just, you know, something for fun, even like PlayStation or Xbox. Sometimes you got to get your mind off something in order to kind of like, okay. But I always say go hard at them, but go hard at them and then have a good mind to not lord it over them, right? Do you ever teach the guys like that? Or, you know, do you ever see them kind of going like, ha, 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 and you're like, whoa, watch it, man. You guys could lose any minute.
Yeah, so we teach them to work hard, but have fun, like love what you're doing. When you're passionate about, that's where it all starts, right? That's where success starts, is by doing things that you're really passionate and that you love doing. And when you do that, you're going to have fun along the way.
Yeah. I see some teams, including like in baseball. I don't know if you're a fan or not, but I see certain teams like on the East that are like very like humble, like Boston, right? Boston, when they win, they're very humble, right? Like sometimes people don't like the Yankees because they think like, oh, sometimes some of the Yankees are kind of like a little like, hey, yeah, of course we're gonna win, right? And it depends on the demeanor in life that I say these kids have a really good, like how do I say, kind of like a lead, like a lead in of life, because I know they got families that come watch them, that support them. I'm not gonna lie, in past years you've had families that actually like, you know, take the photos and take the video, and then we were able to use it in past years because they support, you know, the kids. But I guess I got a question for the parents out there. What is it good for the parents to do when your own kid either has a win or like, you know, they're feeling bad because they lost, you know, and they lost as a team?
Yeah, so got to keep things in perspective, right? Losses are great opportunities to learn something and take something away. And so I think there's good moments for parents to be able to, you know, let their kids know that, like, you know, victories don't last forever and defeats don't last forever either. They're just little opportunities that are created to kind of self-reflect. And,
yeah. Now
I think probably the most important thing for parents, win or lose, let your kid know that you love them and that you enjoy watching them play.
Well said. And I know you're a parent, so you take that to heart. Now, I know you guys are up against San Jacinto, and I know you don't like to give out too much, but they're a pretty good team right now to play against. Is there anything that you're going, okay, we need to be mindful of?
We need to be mindful that we are on and firing on all cylinders tonight. That's the key thing, and just to make sure that we know our assignments when we line up each play.
Yeah, well, I'm excited for you guys. I know Beaumont has a week off after tonight before the Citrus Belt League play begins. I know you don't like to think that far in advance. Our very own Mitch McClellan always does. Is there any like thing that you're going to think in like the next couple of weeks to say, okay, we got to get our head in the game? Because when you take a week off, you kind of, you know, you need to kind of make up for it, right?
Yeah. So yeah, like next week with the bye week's going to be great, just to get back to working on some individual techniques that we haven't had an opportunity, and also we'll be out of pads, so the body gets to heal up a little bit, and then ready to go to league.
Nice, nice. I think you guys at the gym are pretty much taking advantage of that situation and doing so safely. All right, well, we appreciate you, Coach. Thank you for doing everything you're doing. Can't wait to see it. It's tonight. KMT is the home for Beaumont High School football. You can join Mitch McClellan, Brett Malik, Scott Reed for the live broadcast tonight at 6:45 p.m. Jeff, thank you so much for spending time with us here on the show. All right, so he's getting ready to get some stuff going on. And I'm telling you, man, Jess, I mean, we are behind a team that are actually winning. I mean, that feels kind of fun, right? 4-0, that's pretty neat in and of itself. And I feel bad, for the other team that got, like, because whenever you report on that, like in national news, you go, oh, man, they got creamed, right? 64-0, but... you go, hey, these guys are kids, and then I don't think they want to be referred to as kids. You know what I mean?
Right? I mean, would it be bad if I made a bet on them? I mean, would that be like inside information?
Yes, I know. Like, no. But you know what? Look, they're 4-0. That's great. I think they have a lot to teach our local team, which is, the Raiders. But whatever. So, or is it the Rams? Which one? I am so bad with football, Jess. Like both of them, right?
I believe it's the Rams.
They're both not winning, right? So
I have no idea. I don't do football.
I'm so forever Raiders, man. I'm just a Raider fan. I just am. All right. Anyway, okay, we got to take a quick little break. We'll be back with more right after these messages. Stay tuned.
Summer in the Inland Empire. You know what that means. Sunny days and hot temperatures that make you want to stay inside. Franklin Mechanical Systems can repair or replace your air conditioning unit to get it working cool before the heat hits. For cleaning, repair, or a new installation, call them for a free estimate. Franklin Mechanical Systems for all your residential and commercial air conditioning needs. Call their Beaumont office at 951-845-1000. That's 951-845-1000 and get cool today.
The Holiday Inn Express and Suites in Banning is distinctively suited for your travel time out of the car. Off the road, you'll find a courteous, welcoming staff in spacious rooms with desks, flat-screen HD TVs, and comfortable furnishings. Enjoy the complimentary breakfast buffet, high-speed internet, and fitness center and pool. The Holiday Inn Express and Suites in Banning, conveniently located off the I-10 near golf, gaming, and entertainment. For reservations and information, call 951-572-5500. That's 951-572-5500, or go online at hiebanning.com.
You're running out of letterhead. What do? Lithopass Printing. You need business cards. Now what? Lithopass Printing. Invitations to a wedding? Lithopass Printing and Banning is the answer. Lithopass Printing can provide banners, signs, and blueprints. Think of Lithopass Printing and Banning for quality graduation, birthday party, and baby shower invitations. Lithopass Printing also provides lamination, faxing, and photo prints. If you need it inked, make it Lithopass Printing. Lithopass Printing and Banning.
Mattress Brothers Overstock Mattress Sale. Just $3.99 for a foam encased queen pillow top set. $3.99. Check out Mattress Brothers $3.99 Overstock Sale. Mattress Brothers at 120 West Redlands Boulevard in Redlands. The $3.99 Overstock Sale is on now. $3.99 for a foam encased queen pillow top set. Mattress Brothers also has locations in Hammett, Riverside, and Palm Desert. The $3.99 queen pillow top sale on now. Tried shipping a package lately? It's amazing how difficult and time-consuming it can be. Packing, envelopes, boxes, second-day ground, next-day air, it's all enough to give you a headache. Next time, do yourself a favor, go with the pros at the UPS store in Beaumont. They'll pack it right and let you know all your shipping options. You can also take care of everyday tasks like copies, faxing, notary services, and live scan fingerprinting. And while you're there, pay your Edison, gas company, and Verizon bills. Open extended hours Monday through Saturday. The UPS store in Beaumont, located in the Oak Valley Plaza at 1440 Beaumont Avenue. Call 951-769-5956. That's 951-769-5956. Online at the upsstorelocal.com/5027 or Google 5027.
That's right. It's the morning show here on ABC News Radio, KMET 1490 AM. Want to say a big shout out to all those tuning in. Also, check it out a little bit later today in a couple hours. We got Moments with Marianne, and you can tune in to her every Tuesday at 3 o'clock. That's 6 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And today at 10 o'clock or 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Whichever way you roll, make sure to download the app. It's free, KMET 1490 AM. She's got an interesting subject. So I know you're going to want to tune into that. And I know, Jess, you got a lot of things going on. What is going on, by the way?
Oh my God. You go into, it's just like, what do you want to talk about? There is one thing I have been noticing in the news recently, and it's been like, I don't know about you, but I've been seeing it more and more prevalent now. And it's this one specific drug that's been killing everybody.
Oh, you're talking about the fentanyl.
Yes, I'm tired of hearing about it, and honestly, it's crazy, right?
It is. Look. Here's the thing with that. It's okay when you look at fentanyl itself. Fentanyl is basically being mixed with other drugs, right? And the problem with that is it's creating a problem for people who, because you kind of go, okay, what is it for? And I'm going to read this on what it is. Fentanyl in of itself is it's meant to treat pain, all right, and that's like real bad pain because people go, well, what is fentanyl, right? But it's like 50 to 100 times stronger than morphine. Okay, so if you're like in the hospital and you're like, I am in so much pain because of a surgery or something that happened, in of itself, fentanyl is used to treat pain. Does that make sense?
Oh, gotcha. So it's pretty much legal heroin, pretty much. Just
Well, it's more.
it's strong.
Well, okay, and here it is. It's also treated like let's see. It was developed for pain management treatment of cancer patients. Okay, that's what it was like made for. Now, because it has that, I say if you have cancer and you have a lot of pain, anybody that has cancer, Jess, if you're in stage 4 or, you're like 100% in pain, you want to alleviate that, right? But because it's so cheap to make and kind of get your hands on, they use it for other means, right? So it's kind of like, okay, I don't want to feel, right? Or I just want to feel like euphoric, or I want to be this or that. That's why kids are basically taking drugs that are meant to help people. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, it does. It's crazy because it's just like, I type that in, I type in kids or whatever in my local area.
Yeah.
And the main story was about 2 teen kids giving some pills to this young girl.
Yeah.
And yes, dosed on it very easily.
Yeah. And I don't think it was so much that, it was what it was laced with in combination. Because fentanyl of itself is bad, not going to lie, when you overdose, right? And it talks about her overdosing, right? And these kids are basically going to probably go away for some time. But the question they should be asking, Jess, is how do they get their hands on it, right? Who are they distributing for? Who is the guy at the top who is making this batch? Because I guarantee there's going to be more kids that are going to have this problem. Because if you look at the picture, Jess, and let me bring it up, of the young high schooler, I was like, I don't see that girl as being like, you know what I mean? She didn't look like a big user. You know what I mean?
Right? They no one ever does. I mean, they're kids. They'll probably be like, "Oh, this will get you high," blah blah blah. I mean, let's be real. We're all young. We were all young once. We're stupid.
Yeah.
So I wish these kids would have more knowledge on the stuff that they're taking. Like, if there's I don't know, if there's a way of detecting fentanyl within inside a pill or something. That'd be a cool test.
Well, again, I don't think it was the fentanyl by itself. I think the fentanyl is laced with other drugs. Okay, I'll give you an example. Remember we talked about the Florida incident and how Florida was saying the LAX is kind of, in a way, enabling drug people to bring drugs over in the airport and not get screened or get found out. So there's somebody who's paying someone off because it's a cheap type of drug to make, because it's so easy to make, right? Now, they've had like a lot of like on the street that they've caught some fentanyl pills that look like candy, right? You don't want to pop a bunch, right? It's like, okay, let's go back to painkillers, okay? Let's take the very popular Advil, okay? Advil in of itself is good to inhibit pain, right?
Yes, yes, of course.
Okay, but if you mix a batch of Advil with some other things, you can get a potent version of it, okay? And then if you mix a batch of that with some other things, you can get a euphoric version of it, right? You just mix it like with some very basic stuff, which is very easy to get, which is actually like PCP, LSD, and other things, right? Now, back to marijuana. Marijuana, people go, no, there's no problem with marijuana. That's a problem in thinking that because there is a problem with marijuana. When it's laced with other drugs that make it highly potent, right? Or make it like where it's like very addictive. They do mix some of these products with other stuff. So if you go to the doctor, I'll give you an example. I had a friend, I'm not going to put her under the rug on this, but she passed out because she had a bad batch of edibles, right? Or marijuana, like, you know, stuff. And she was very honest with me. She's like, you know, I take this. I go, all right, you know, but I'm like, okay, if you're going to take them from a responsible distributor, right? And that's usually like, it's a little more, but it's worth your, like, you know, and you got to have this conversation with kids. I don't myself take marijuana. I don't, but I know a lot of people that do. But you don't want a bad batch off the street. The street version, right, is the worst kind because, well, back to who makes the profit. Is it that guy or is it someone providing them a cheap product in order to get you high? Now, is it like laced with other stuff? And a lot of kids don't think like this, right? But if you put it in a little chemical like thing, you'd be like, oh God, no, like that's too much. So a normal dose that you would take, maybe 2 or 3 pills, is suddenly like, because you don't know how they manufacture, and that's where like when you think of all those movies on like, you know, like the cartel or like drug bosses or, you know, all those things that you've ever seen, they make these batches and they pass on the buck, meaning the dealer who gave these kids the money, or I'm sorry, well, yeah, the money, because they give them product too. Sometimes they give them the product as money and they make a lot of money and then they say, okay, pay me this for that batch, right? They say, okay, so, or sometimes they just have them like doing it. So I think I would say to these kids that got found out, hey, by the way, you know, what is it, like, how did you get it first? And then you kind of, as the feds do, or even certain law enforcement, they follow the guy who supplied it in the first place. Because you're going to see more of this, Jess. And that's the problem that people don't understand. They see one, they go, oh, okay, what does that mean long term? But a lot of people don't ask that. And it should be this. How many more of these are you going to find? And this is the girl, right, on her phone, taking, and she's very, like, smart, educated, and now she's dead because of it, right? So that's the problem, Jess. And I think if anything, that kind of gets at your, like what, you know, like, but you got to go to the top. Who's the one who manufactured this drug to begin with? And is it all fentanyl or is it laced with other things? And I would say, based on some things that they've been finding, sometimes you got cocaine in it, you got meth in it, you got a lot of things. Kind of like if you ever watch like, what's that show with where he's like a teacher, then he has cancer, and then what's that called?
Oh, I love that show, Breaking Bad.
Breaking Bad, thank you. Breaking Bad is an example of what it takes when you take certain chemicals and you make a batch, right? And because he knew chemistry, he was a chemistry teacher, right? He knew how to make a batch, but then he wanted it for a little because he needed some money because no one was, you know, providing for his fam because he's like, well, I'm going to die anyway. He doesn't want to tell anyone that. But if you watch that, there's people like that people employ, but it always goes to the top of someone saying, hey, don't encroach on my own territory where I make a lot of money. So the people that make money on this, whether people die or not, are the worst ones, right? So you can't blame these kids. You got to blame the person who introduced them and then blame the guy that's connected to. And then usually you'll find like a drug ring. Does that make sense? And then the drug ring is usually a guy who profits like in Mexico or Argentina or in Spain. And he's the guy just like with a bunch of girls or like, you know, a Lamborghini or a Ferrari, right? That's the guy who's making money because he put in play something like a team or people that are combined with other people that are more drug lords, which provide this chemical and sometimes from like Nicaragua, sometimes from like Honduras, sometimes from like, other places around the world where they're safe, but they have guerrilla warfare, meaning like they'll take you out. They'll even take out a army because you get it? Like, this is how people, and they don't understand this type of young youth. You can't blame her for taking it because kids at this age do take stuff, just like edibles, right? So there's a lot of laced edibles that are going to kill in the next few months because this stuff is laced with real cheap stuff. Now, even big drug lords we don't go cheap, because if you go cheap, you create death. And when you create death, you never know when that's going to happen with fam, right? Like, would you give this to your own fam, right? And they usually are anywhere like from 40 and up, right? Or 30 to something, But the little guy is like, the little teen who goes, man, I'm going to create like a drug empire, right? In his mind. But then he gets locked up. But then police only kind of stop with him rather than say, okay, how can we get to the top guy? But then there's drugs, there's guns, there's everything involved. So now you're like, man, this is danger, right? All because of a pill, right? And that's the problem. So they take something that is meant for like people like that are in severe pain, right? Back to hospital, that aren't addicts. They just need something for the pain, like a morphine drip, right? If you've ever been in pain, Jess, trust me, morphine is the thing you want. I only took it once, and I was like, whoa, this feels good. Kind of like Xanax. Xanax is prescribed to certain people for anxiety, right? But they say, be careful because it's addictive. It has addictive properties. So you want to take a little, not a lot. So I see this being a problem for people that are like in pain management, or people that are like, no, man, if you like go under certain surgery and your stomach hurts, you want a morphine drip, right? I remember going to the ER once and I had a morphine. I go, is that what morphine is? Well, I feel good. The pain went away, man. Yeah. But that was like in the hospital and they prescribed that, right? So that's the problem that we're finding. And I say go for the top guy as much as possible. That's when Fed get involved. But some people are like, no, I don't like Fed, because they think Grand Theft Auto and they think like, you know what I mean? But you got to take these guys that kill a young, this could have been a young potential, real smart young woman. You know what I mean? And now she's dead because of it. And is it her fault? I would say, well, I don't think she thought it was going to kill her, right? Is it their fault? I don't think even they thought it was going to kill her. But are the guys on top thinking it's going to kill? I don't know. It's usually the guy in the middle that goes, hey, I'm going to distribute some product, but then it gets found out, and then a friend of a friend of a friend calls a friend and says, did you just kill my kids because this drug is out on like our side of biz? They go, yeah, but they never say yeah. They say no, and then they find out it is. Then you have like a drug war thing happen between gang, right? And then you have a problem on the street, and then you go, okay, who's going to shoot at who? And then you have a bunch of shootings. People have money because it's a cash biz, Jess. It's a cash biz, and these people have cash at home, right? These kids, I guarantee, they're making some money off kids at the school. And the problem that I think is going to happen is this: a lot of people are going to say, okay, is my kid like using this stuff? But I think you should ask, are they distributing this stuff? Because I think a lot of parents are unaware that their kids sometimes make some money, and like, how do you have that money? Oh, don't worry about it. They themselves are making money, but then in a few years, if they keep taking the product, they're going to end up homeless at some point, because now they have behavior, and you're like, what is going on with my kid? They're making money at first, so they have new shoes, they have new stuff. You're like, wait, I give you money for that. And they're like 13, 14, and 15, because they start them off young, Jess. And sometimes they start off with one guy or one girl in school and say, hey, who do you trust to recruit to sell for us? You want to make some extra cash, right? Unfortunately, I know people like this, and I'm like, man, they need to go to prison, right? But they're fam. So you're like, okay, I don't know what to do, whatever. My point is this: you gotta attack all, like, and some people like kind of like block the cops because they go, I don't want to report. But this could be your kid, all right? Either selling and or using. And this girl, guaranteed, like, she was, she's just, it's sad to see that, Jess. It's sad to see that, so.
Honestly, it really is, because you know what? We all make mistakes when we're young. I mean, let's be real. We all try certain things. We'll drink a certain beer or an alcohol before we're of age. But it's just like when you're putting out these pills, and be like, do you know how much fentanyl it takes to kill you? Like a few grains of sand or something like that. It's very minimal.
Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah, because again, it's a pain management thing. But when it's laced with other drugs, which I guarantee they're going to find out, It's not just the fentanyl. It's stuff that are mixed with fentanyl. Because you could actually take 3 and be fine with it, because they actually prescribe this in pill form. But they also have like a site where it shows genuine versus not genuine. So there are ones that are mixed with it, and they batch it, and they look like real pills, because they have a manufacturing place that manufactures this stuff, So you got to be careful. But these things are going to be a thing. Let's see. Yeah, I'm looking at another one of another story in Seattle. Same thing, Jess, same thing. And they're showing parents, basically. Let me bring this up so you guys can see this. This is one that happened, and they're warning parents. This is what you look for, okay? This is how official it looks, all right? And this article says this. Let me bring it up real quick. It's in the Seattle Times, and it killed 3 teens, okay? Yeah, so it's one of those things where you have to subscribe and then you have to buy it. It's just dumb, or whatever. So anyway, it happened, but that's the warning, okay? That's how official they look. So if you see that, just know, okay, my kid is taking something that may kill, right? So this is being distributed in a lot of areas, and they're trying to make parents and people aware, hey, if your kid has this in their possession, they could die. So you might want to, some parents go through their kids' stuff, some don't. Some care, and some see them pop something. They're like, "What are you taking?" "Oh, nothing." But they're like, "Oh, it's maybe it's aspirin, right?" They'll say that or lie. We all know about ecstasy pills. We all know about those things. But a lot of people say, "Yeah, but I survived." Yeah, but you don't have a bad batch. That's what I say. Like, don't get stuff off the street, because you never know where the provider is from. And then when the person goes missing and you don't have that provider, you wonder why they're missing, right? They're missing not because they're like rolling in the dough. They may, in a way, have a problem with the distribution, or like somebody got cut off. Meaning, sometimes people take off heads with this stuff. You know what I mean? Because it's a cash biz. They go, well, why would they do this on drugs? It's a lot of money, man. It's all cash, right? You get a supply like this, even a few pills go for street value for like, maybe $8 to $12, right? But these are very inexpensive to make, because they're like, less than a few cents. More like pennies on the dollar, really. But, So someone's making money off this. And those are the people I say, okay, and it's hard to follow the money because it's cash. So it's not like they make a deposit at the bank. You know what I mean? Hey, go, here you go. It's a cash biz. So that's why they usually meet somebody, and then they meet somebody like, in the middle of the night or in the dark. And you got to trail that, So anyway, there's ways to do it, but whatever. All right, people, got to take a quick little break. Be safe out there. Remember, life is worth living. Live it well. We'll be right back right after these messages. Stay tuned.
Did one of you guys just fire on me?
I thought our cloaking device was on.
LeVar said he fixed it.
All right, guys, cloaking is fixed. What did you guys do? Oh.
Yeah, guys, I'm telling you right now, it is all the thing to play. I will tell you, even Jess, he's kind of addicted to this. Sometimes you'll actually hear the little on the broadcast, but there you go. All right. Also, there's something else I want to talk about real quick. It's solar, and solar is really a good fix for everyone. Recently, you'll see a lot of news about Biden and giving certain information out to go solar when it comes to vehicles. Our very own Ricardo Rodriguez is there on location in Michigan. And he's getting a lot of information, so hopefully we'll have him on the show soon to talk about that. But you got to create more opportunity for energy, and solar is the way to do it. So if you want to get solar for your home, or you have an electric vehicle and you're like, man, I do not want to keep paying this bill, then solar is the way to go. Call my friends, just message me, inbox me, and say, hey, interested, or comment on this video and say, hey, interested, I want to do solar, and I'll hook you up with someone who can help you out. Her name is Annette. She does a really good job at seeing if you are a candidate or if you could use it for you or yourself. All right, people, we'll be right back right after this.
When you want the best performance for your vehicle, think only of Scott's Headers and Mufflers in Beaumont, right off the I-10 and 60 freeways. Check out Scott's complete list of performance products on their website at hdrinfo.com. Scott's Headers and Mufflers can recommend ways for your car or truck to get better gas mileage and cut down on emissions. Need your car or truck to pass smog only? Go to Scott's Headers and Mufflers in Beaumont. Find out all of your questions on vehicle performance by logging on to hdrinfo.com. Scott's Headers and Mufflers in Beaumont, hdrinfo.com.
We're in the studio with Fred Penny, managing attorney with Penny and Associates Injury Lawyers. Fred, tell us what makes you the #1 choice for handling personal injury cases.
Most of our firm is made up of former insurance company trial lawyers with extensive experience handling all types of personal injury matters. We believe that gives us a distinct advantage.
That's Penny and Associates Injury Lawyers, with locations throughout California. For a free consultation, go to pennyandassociates.com or call 1-800-616-4-LAW. That's 1-800-616-4-LAW.
Welcome back. Yes, it is the morning show here on ABC News Radio, KMET 1490 AM. I'm Aaron Michael Sanchez. Again, if you want solar, you should go ahead and check it out. Make sure to comment. And there's so many things when it comes to electrical that I go, okay, you guys do these flex alerts. Are you ready for more energy to be sucked out? Right? I know, Jesse, you're working on something that you go, wait a minute, this looks pretty cool. What is it?
Oh my God, I'm in love. So it's called the Airwinds. AERWINS X Turismo. It is a hover bike and it's for sale.
Whoa, how much is it?
Doesn't matter. You can lease your life or kidney. I don't know.
You're like, please, I just want it.
It's 800,000.
800,000? Yikes! It looks cool though. It looks like a cop vehicle, right?
It does. Oh my God, I would attach some lights to it. I'd be having so much fun. I just want to fly through the air.
Yeah.
That'd be so amazing. I mean, we're so close. We're so close. All we need is just like a better energy source, maybe something else. And you know what? Pretty soon we'll be seeing hover bikes flying through the air. But then I'm thinking, oh great, I just need a drunk person flying one of these and crashing into a tree.
Well, it reminds me of Star Wars when they have those hover bikes that they fly through, right? They just put a little laser and then do 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 do. Anyway, it looks pretty cool. All right, we're out of time. Make it a great day. Whatever you do, remember, life is worth living. Live it well. Bye-bye, everyone. All right, for those of you tuning in, thank you for making it a great day. I gotta say this: that hover bike is amazing. I wish I could say more about it. It is worth $777,000. All right, there's a lot of stuff being premiered this week at the show. Again, our very own Ricardo Rodriguez is there. But I do say this, okay? I know some people are like, yeah, but I don't know when it comes to solar. And I say this: a lot of people that used to go like in years past, you should revisit it. Okay, because it's the only way. You know how you're seeing more electric vehicles on the road, right? I'll give you an example. When I got in my car accident with the 4Runner got, I hate seeing it, but it had to go bye-bye, right? Because it got totaled. And it could have been repaired. It could have, but the amount of money that they gave us, that would have been the repair. And it just didn't make sense financially. Plus, especially with gas going up to $8, right? I mean, it's a minimum $5 now. It wasn't good on gas. That I could tell you. 17 miles per gallon is what it was. So, if I drive it, I'd be out of gas after so long. I had a big tank, so it seemed like forever. But, so I got a smaller vehicle since. But I wanted to get a Prius, right? And I thought, okay, a Prius will pay itself in a few years because, I just know it's going that way. And it is, and that was right before the price took a huge hike of gas. Now, will gas go down? Some say yes, others say no. I will say this. The fact that it went as high as 8 means that that's a new high, right? The last high was 430 or so, 438, 434. Anyway, 430-ish, right? At 430, when we used to pay $1, right? And I feel like, at least to the young generation, they're going, what? We, as anywhere from 30 on up, you remember paying $1 to $2, maybe $3 max. Whenever you hit a new high, that's the new high of eventually, right? So since we hit the high of, and we're not going below 4, that's not good for us. That means the new minimum will probably be around 4 something. That's here in California. In the U.S., the national is all varied because in certain areas it's lower than that, right? But you have a new low. That's the way they trade commodities, right? Oil or gas is a commodity, so they trade in that way. So I say this is why it makes sense, especially now. Maybe in like 8-12 years ago it was like hypothetical, right? Hypothetical, you would save money with solar, right? And when I say that, I would say this. Okay, what you got to do is take your bill, okay, whatever bill you have. Now you have your bill, that's your month, right? So you know how much energy you use on a given month, but there are peak months where you use a lot, and then there's some where you use not that much, right? Like in winter months, you usually don't use as much as you do during the summer. And the reason for the summer, like high, is because, well, air conditioning, right? Because you put it on so you can, like be cool, right? So it's comfort, but it comes at a cost. Okay, now, people that have solar don't have to worry about that. It's already like taken care of. So the way to think of it is this. If you own a home, you already know you make a payment, right? You make a payment all the time, right? But it's pennies on the dollar versus what you pay monthly to your electric bill, right? So now it's taken care of. Now your electric bill may come in as a credit where you see like, negative, I saw one the other day was like negative 300, right? And meaning you gave so much energy to them that you didn't use it, and that's where you win. Like, let's say you take a vacation for like, I don't know, a month, right? And you turn off all your power, right? You're still generating power, but you're kind of giving it in a way to the electric company, and they're using it, right? That's how it's connected. So now you have a credit versus like, okay, you owe us, right? No matter what, if you don't have solar, you always owe the bill, no matter what, even if you turn off all the power, because there's still a certain amount generating. Maybe not a lot, but there's still a certain amount. So you can actually get a credit of like anywhere from $400 to $500, depending on what type of solar you put on your roof, right? So like you see that's an array or panel that generates a lot of power. But if that person says, hey, I'm going to go away for like a few months, I'm going on vacation like Europe or something, that is generating power no matter what when it's sunny, right? Now when it's cloudy, it still generates power, by the way. But you're able to kind of offset it by it being connected to the grid. So in essence, somebody's using it somewhere. All right. So that's the good news. You offset it, right? So you actually now are prepared for the electrical thing that's coming, which, is going to be talked about a lot when it comes to cars, right? Well, cars take up a lot of energy, right? And they're talking about charging stations, but they got to take the electricity from somewhere. So all of you that have been getting flex alerts, you're like, okay, I don't want to like put a drain on the system so we all don't have rolling blackouts. They don't have enough electricity to go around, which is why they're going to need to generate more solar power, right? The sun is the best thing since sliced bread, and I'm glad we harness it. I think the technology is there now, especially with this particular product, but I think even in the future it's coming out even better because they're investing a lot of, stuff on solar because you could put it anywhere. If you have a backyard or you have somewhere where you could put, like a array, let's say you have some land. Not all of you do, but some of you may have some land. Or if you see some cheap land like in the desert, put a solar, and generate that amount. You could take a loan and then, send it back to the power grid and get credit for it. You'll make money on it, right? You just got to generate enough solar power. You keep them clean. You clean them every other, year to few years, and you basically take the dust off them, right? So but you have a professional install them, and that's my friend who can hook you up. Her name is Annette. Okay, she can hook you up. So I've had a few people already send kind of like, hey, can you go ahead and give me some more information, because it's the only way to, in essence, not put a drain on our grid system. Okay. So that's the good news. And someone said this recently, what about a power outage? Would somebody that has solar have a power outage? The answer, no, you wouldn't. Because in a way, you're still generating the power, especially if you have a backup battery thing, which I know Tesla's rolling out a bunch of stuff because, again, nobody thinks about the infrastructure, right? You need to be able to create enough electrical power to be able to fuel up your device, right? So all these Teslas that you're seeing, Prius and other like electric vehicles that they're making almost mandatory, which I don't think is going to be long term. I don't think there's the oil industry and gas, like the oil industry is not going to give up that fight. Okay, they're going to stay like no. You know, I can say this almost 100%. You're never going to get rid of gas. You're going to have a hybrid model, yes, but a hybrid model, even I trust. I keep saying this. I would never trust all electric. I just don't. Because if there were an emergency, A, there's not enough like centers to be able to fuel up your vehicle. And B, if there's an emergency, you don't want to wait for it to be fueled up, right? Like if you forget to charge it like your phone, what are you going to do, right? So you need a hybrid model. I don't agree with 100% all electric. I just don't. And we're putting a drain on yeah. So they're going to try to generate big ways, which always are oil based. That's why people go, well, you know, sometimes when you do electric, it doesn't mean it's all, you know, good for the environment because of the way you got to get the energy to begin with. So some people go, okay, but I say do this. Create energy with the sun, right? And in your home, you'll have plenty of sun as long as you have that kind of factored in. So I say this, anybody who has had solar that already like, you know, they committed to that, but now you're thinking, oh, solar vehicle, which I say, you know, electric vehicle or sun vehicle, they're not there yet to where they put solar on the vehicle. There's some that they test out for trucks, and they work really good, by the way. I talked to one manufacturer, which they were ahead of it, and I saw them at the auto show because, as you know, I'm part of the Hispanic Motor Press where we actually judge vehicles, and we see what's happening in the future, right? They talk about fuel cell, hydro, and all these other, like, things that are coming out. Honda's making some really cool stuff. Or, you know, they have a whole fleet in Australia that are all hydro, right? They run on water. It's really cool. And some of these like trucks actually run like they have the ability without a person behind it. And some truckers are like, what? I don't want that. I want to be, you know, the guy. So there's a lot of stuff happening. It's really fast. And I say, you know, just like the Tesla, I wouldn't drive in a Tesla with it automatically on unless there was a lane for it. But I wouldn't be that guy to fall asleep because how many, you know, are we hearing that are happening like that? So, you know, you got to have like a certain amount of time where you say, okay, people, this is what it can do. This is what it cannot do. Okay. I'm going to bring up this picture again because I think it's pretty cool. But there's a do and do not of this. And although it looks amazing and it does, it's one of those things where you go, okay, what's going to happen? Worst case scenario. All right. Think about the repercussion of this. Now, this vehicle looks amazing, right? Now, at the price tag of about 800, right, thousand, you're thinking, okay, yeah, not for me. But I say not for you yet because this is more like a prototype. But when they manufacture in bulk, just like they did back to like, you know, the big screen that you have probably in your room, right? Those are cheap now. So when they get in mass, will it be something you want to see, you know, again and again and again? I say no, because what if it falls from the air? Are you ready to get like, you know, the floor meet your body, right? So these things fail all the time, all right? So it looks cool. It looks amazing. But if just one rudder gets something in it, like, you know, a bird or a rock or like something, you know, it makes a, right? I think like Star Wars when they kind of go, right? Like they crash into a tree, right? So it's fun. It's fun. But mechanic can always fail. You know, a screw could come loose. I mean, look at how many planes are going crazy. You know, I saw one where the actual engine, like the middle around it came undone. I'm like, somebody's not maintaining that. So as much as this is it cool to be on? Yeah. Is it cool to drive? Yeah. Is it something that you want to make sure is maintained all the time? Yes. But nobody asked about the repercussion of it, right? How much energy does it take? Is it fuel based or is it like, you know, electrical? I don't know. I haven't done the research. But again, would you want to be on this without a helmet? No. Would you want to be on this without something very good for your body, which will keep you, if you do fall, and I saw one recently which was doing football, and they did it on one of those things where it looks like a glider, which again, look cool, but well, back to solar, you got to power these things, right? So get solar at the very least, because that's a safe investment, right? That's safe 100%. You don't have to worry about, the problems that it brings, because you have phones, you have stuff, you have devices that are taking more energy than not. Sometimes people are like, turn off, your devices that are, and I go, no. You guys got to lower the price. That's number one. We're paying almost double or triple what we did in 2020. And that's where people that got solar are ahead. Okay, all the naysayers of like 8, 12 years ago that had solar and they go, well, maybe I do, maybe I don't. Those are the ones that are now saying, you know what, I'm glad I did. Because if you look at their bill, they're like, shoot, I profit now. Because they do. It's money in the, so that's a thing. But they got to offer like a credit or something, like another credit. I don't know. Anyway, people, make it a great day, whatever you do. Remember, life is worth living, live it well. And remember, solar is where it's at. If you have questions, just type in, hey, I want more info, or DM me or inbox me. All right. Bye-bye, everyone.